Guys, so third meeting in a week and we still have nothing to show for it. I think we need to cut the interpretive dance sequence.
You just want to cut it because you never liked it in the first place.
I drafted this joint statement on Unity, and I think we should just go for it assuming everyone's right.
Conflicts going nowhere and a rapidly approaching deadline. Perhaps you have experienced a group project like this, but how did we get here? Studies in organizational psychology have overwhelmingly shown conflict on diverse teams to lead to more creativity and better outcomes. What do you think?
Okay, I've run the numbers, and if we cut our sleep by 100% and work all through the night, we might finish on time.
I think there is a lot of unresolved tension in the room. Maybe now is the time when we deal with how your parents never wanted you to be an artist.
Very good.
How about we alternate doing everyone else's ideas every other hour?
Hey, we just need to keep understanding and listen to each other, right?
This group's conflict isn't leading to the creativity that the literature suggests. But why? It's because the conflict isn't managed properly. Each group member is bringing a different approach to the conflict, which is known as a conflict style. Now, these conflict styles are conflicting because each group member doesn't understand the other's approach to conflict, leading to bad conflict management and poor outcomes. No, but if we're gonna get anywhere, we're gonna need a map. Doris, pull up the map. No. No, Doris, the useful map. Doris, the heckin' conflict map. Radical. As you can see, there are 4 conflict styles for a global leader to look out for. Here's discussion. He's direct and doesn't express his emotions in a conflict. Discussion loves cold, dispassionate reason and logical conflict. He likes to bring stats, figures, and doesn't like to really bring his anger into the conflict. Discussion hates poor reasons and your emotions making you unreasonable. Here's some things you shouldn't do with discussion when you're in a conflict. Cry, shout, call them cold, emotionless robots who don't feel love. Here's some de-escalators that you can try. Lowering your voice or waiting your turn to speak. Or try complimenting them. Maybe you could call them cold, emotionless robots who don't feel love. Engagement loves heated, involved conflict, showing how much you care about the issues involved and putting everything out on the table emotionally and discussion-wise. They're direct communicators and they express their emotions in a conflict, sometimes getting heated, gesticulating. Engagement hates reservation, being cold, not showing your feelings, and acting like you don't care. Thus, engagement often has problems with the non-emotion expressing discussion style and the more reserved accommodation style. One clear don't with the engagement style. Tell me to calm down. I am calm! That's probably how the engagement style will react. Now, some de-escalators for the engagement style. Try to validate their emotions by saying, I see why you feel this way, or I understand you. And also try to use gestures to communicate your affective commitment to the issue. Your emotions are involved as well, even if you're not expressing them. That's what you need to say to the engagement style if you're having problems. Accommodation style can be summed up in one word, harmony, which is their ultimate value. And this is done through indirect communication style and also not expressing emotion in conflict, which preserves the relationship and the harmony within the group. Some behaviors of accommodation style include using unsure language like perhaps or maybe we could try this, or perhaps we should go in this direction. It might seem unsure to a more direct communicator. And also it might seem like they're not emotionally buying in or that they don't care. One big don't for the accommodation style is to step over them because they'll let you. Don't step on them because you lose out on their ideas. De-escalation strategies for the accommodation style include giving them space to speak, not interrupting them, not using overly confrontational language, and also using words like perhaps and maybe when you're discussing your own viewpoint. This will help preserve the group harmony and make the accommodations viewpoint heard and understood. The dynamic style, while not a direct communicator, they're emotionally expressive, which often confuses their team members. Like the accommodation style, the dynamic style values group harmony, but like the engagement style, part of this harmony is an affective commitment. It's showing emotion and showing you're committed to the issue, while also trying to preserve the relationships within the group. The dynamic style might use touch, gestures, emotional inflection in the voice, while not directly saying, your idea is bad. Do not ignore them when they're clearly telling you something is wrong. The dynamic style is trying to preserve the relationship. They're going to tell you indirectly that they have a problem and that they have input to give. It's through their emotional expression, and it's your job to de-escalate. How are you going to do it? Listen more than you talk. You need to find out what the root of the issue is. Like the accommodation style, you need to listen, you need to give them the space, then you need to decode what they're really saying. Congratulations! You're on the road to becoming a great conflict manager. You understand a little bit more the 4 conflict styles. But what do you do with this information when you're in a team conflict? The first step is called mapping. Now, you might be thinking, isn't that a bit formal, putting ourselves on a map where we are on this weird graph? It doesn't have to be so formal. And part of being a great leader on teams is starting with yourself. You can say, oh, I'm a direct communicator. I like to put it all out on the table. Say it clear. And you can say, oh, I'm emotionally expressive when we have disagreements. I'm gonna get a little bit heated. I'm gonna raise my voice. I'm gonna use gestures. Then you can open the dialogue with your team to find out maybe people aren't as comfortable. Maybe people are indirect communicators and they're a bit gentler with their constructive criticism. Then you can move on to the second step, bridging. Bridging the gap between different conflict styles. The first step to bridging is appreciation. Appreciate the virtues of an indirect communication style, preserving harmony. The second step of bridging is behavioral. Change your behaviors to get the best out of your team. Listen for those indirect communicators, or try to understand the direct communicators. Don't take it personally. The third and final step of great conflict management is integration. This is the long-term creation of processes that are going to foster great communication in your teams. In the conflict, everyone's voice is going to be heard, and this is going to lead to the most creative solutions. Try creating a system where everyone gets their voice heard through conversational turn-taking, for instance. That way, you're going to get the best out of every group member, especially with those indirect styles, accommodation and dynamic. Another method you could use is to set a default accepted method of communication for the group. Making your expectations clear at the beginning that you're going to use more direct communication is going to help everyone latch onto that. Or you could say, well, we're going to meet in the middle. We're going to, as a group, use constructive criticism, and this is what that means. It means being a direct communicator, but softening the blow. Creating these processes at the beginning of your group's formation will allow you to have really constructive conflicts and get the best outcomes. That's integration. Now that we've heard the 4 conflict styles and mapping, bridging, and integrating, we can look to our old group and see how they're doing.
I don't know how I'm going to keep your scene in the video and still finish on time.
I would really like to keep it in. None of the themes make sense.
Hold on now. If only someone could introduce some de-escalating strategies.
I think it's important to take everybody's perspective, and not only our own perception.
Maybe instead of talking about whether we should have the video or not, we can compromise your creative vision with the need to get it done and talk about how long it should be.
Okay.